Today we are coming at you with a great video. An awesome young man is going to share some tips for you on books that he recommends that your children, your boys, ages 13 and up, would enjoy. Hello y'all, I'm Miss Katie. Welcome to Heritage Ways, where we honor home, celebrate heritage, and spread hope. And today we want to honor home and maybe celebrate some heritage and spread hope by giving you some ideas for young men to read, books to read, typically ages 13 and up. Now, I've come to you before with my niece Chloe, and she shared with you her recommendations for books, good quality, wholesome books. This is Chloe's brother Clark and my nephew. And how old are you?
I'm 15.
15. So he's 15 and he has chosen these books. I haven't even looked at them yet. And he has chosen these books to tell you about. So let's get started. These opinions are Clark's. And we do encourage you parents to, of course, do your own research and decide what's best for your children. But these are Clark's, and they are parental approved. And if there's anything specifically that the parents need to know about in the books, let us know that as well.
Okay, so
right? Where are we going to start?
I've divided all these stacks of books into genres. So the first one is, I'm a big World War II history geek. So I've got Band of Brothers, Parachute Infantry, and a book called Spearhead. So this is a really nice book. It's got very little language for...
Bad language, you mean?
Right, for a book like it. It's about tanks. I would highly recommend it. It's a really great read.
Okay, but let's talk about two things. Talk about ages for this particular book, and talk about how your parents, because I know they monitor, they're great parents, and I know they monitor what you read and watch and that kind of thing. Tell us how they handle for you books that do have some bad language. How do they determine what you can read and what you can't?
Well, usually with books like these, my dad will read it first. Like this one, he read it and then he suggested it to me. So if it's got really bad language, then he'll go through the book with a Sharpie and mark out all the language. Same with Band of Brothers. It's got really bad language, so my dad read it and then he went through it so I could read it. This is one of my favorites. It's a really good book on leadership.
His parents are very diligent and intentional, and I was just going to find a page that showed that they, marked out anything that they thought was inappropriate. So this is where we ask that parents use your own discretion, and these are for you. Probably maybe not 13, maybe
not,
or depending on the maturity level or what the parents decide.
So this book is Parachute Infantry. It's actually by a soldier in the Band of Brothers. So it's just like Band of Brothers. I would have my dad read through it, and he marked out all the bad language, and then he had me read it. So that's usually how we do books like this.
And you respect and appreciate your parents for that, don't you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you've got good parents.
Thank you. The next stack is, I don't know how I would describe this, but I have The Hobbit. I didn't get all the way through this book, but if you like fantasy, this is a really good book.
Okay.
So the next one is Swiss Family Robinson. This is actually the Great Illustrated Classics version. This is better for about 13 to 14-year-olds.
Or even younger, I know.
Right.
First,
I really love these when I was maybe 8 to 13. I read this in about a day. It's really good. There's no bad language. It's a really great book.
Are you pointing out the series, the Great Illustrated Classic series, or are you pointing out this particular title to us?
Well, actually, the Great Illustrated Classics series, there are some really good books in this series, and then there are some really not so interesting books. Some of my favorite Great Illustrated Classics are Peter Pan. I've read Ivanhoe, Swiss Family Robinson. So there's a lot of great classics that this series has to offer.
Our big boys read those, and then I got rid of them and don't have them for the little kids.
They're really
but
good books.
That's good. Okay.
So, and then this is a series, one of my all-time favorites, The Chronicles of Narnia. So, let's see, we have The Horse and His Boy, one of my favorites. The Last Battle, which I'm actually reading right now. The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, the book is really good. I would not suggest the movie. Don't watch the movie and then judge the book by its movie, because the movie is terrible, but the book is really good.
We have a mutual friend, and they have kind of a family rule. They have 6 children. They homeschool. Their oldest just left for college. Youngest just left for college. But they don't let themselves watch the movie before they read the book.
Right. And then The Silver Chair. It's a little bit harder to get through than the other books, but I would still highly recommend it. The Little House series. So, as a young man, if you have siblings, you might have seen your sister read these. At first, when I read these, I was a little wary because my sister read them, and I didn't really want to read a girl book.
Right.
So there are some ones that are kind of geared a little more towards girls. But my absolute favorite of this series is Farmer Boy. So I don't have the book, but I have the audio edition. So it's a really good book. It's about what's his name?
Well, it's Almanzo. We visited the home. Mm-hmm. I've always said Almanzo, and we visited one of the homes recently, and they said it's definitely Almanzo. Mm-hmm. So there you go, Almanzo Wilder.
Almanzo Wilder. It's a really good book. I would highly recommend it.
I'm glad that you brought up the Laura Ingalls Wilder books, because I have many friends who have boys and girls. Mm-hmm. And the boys love these. I know it seems to be a girl book, and I know the main characters are girls, but especially if you do have younger ones and you're reading to them, they love these books. Mm-hmm. And you can go and visit these places where this happened. Now, I have 2 questions. The first one is, do you listen to many books? Do you have many audio books or on Kindle or anything like that?
We have a lot of audiobooks. So, I don't know if you've talked to them about your story hour.
I don't think I have. Go ahead and mention that.
Okay, so
we love I have like on Instagram and things, but not on a video. Tell them. Yes.
I love your story hour.
Mm-hmm. That's the name of it, Your Story Hour.
Right.
And I think you can go to, there's a website. I don't know if it's .org or .com, but yeah.
I love it. It is
we do too.
Geared toward more like 8 to 9-year-olds maybe.
We love all the stories.
Oh, yeah,
we adults.
I still love listening to it. I do it when I'm trying to go to bed maybe. They have a series on Theodore Roosevelt. They have a series that does all the Bible stories.
There are lots of volumes, and y'all should check it out.
A lot of historical characters.
That's the second thing I want to bring up. How can you tie together, or how important is travel and reading? How do those, visiting places you read about, can you talk about that?
Well,
do you have any experience with that?
Yes, my favorite example for this is the Theodore Roosevelt. So I've read a little bit of Citizenship in a Republic, which is a book by Theodore Roosevelt. I've listened to the Your Story Hour on Theodore Roosevelt. I think he has another book I read.
Mornings on Horseback by David. I think is it David McCullough?
I think it's a David McCullough book, but
yeah,
I read that.
That's really good too.
And then we went to his house, and I really love Sagamore Hill, which is where he lived. It's really interesting to put the things you've read about and listened and watched and put it to real places, because it kind of helps your mind say, oh yeah, this actually happened. It wasn't just somebody who lived a long time ago and died. It actually happened. I mean, they did live a long time ago and died.
I know what you mean. It is. It's true.
It actually happened, and these were real people, and they have the same struggles that we do. I think it's really cool.
Right. Now, have you been to any of the places that are mentioned in these books? Do you know any of the homes? There's several homes and places connected with these books in several different states. Well, we've been to Mansfield, Missouri, and Kansas home and so forth. But is there any other place represented on this table that you've been and you can tell us about?
Hey folks, thanks for watching. And I really think you're going to want to tune in tomorrow to find out where Clark spent his 15th unforgettable birthday.